All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Horn Takes podcast. Your very rough around the edges Texas sports talk destination. I'm your host, Sean Redfern. It is Friday Eve. We're doing the show a day early this week because I have to go follow my son, watch some baseball, some high school baseball. I am rushed today. I've been busy all day, man. So I apologize for the weird nature of the opening of this here live stream and this here podcast. There was some shit that was said this week that just, man, it needs to be addressed. So we will talk about that today. We'll talk about those Hardwood Horns, talk a little Texas baseball. There's not a whole lot to talk about yet, but we're getting close. We're getting close, baseball fans. And then, you know how people say things are a double-edged sword? We'll talk about a double-edged sword in just a little bit, folks. Check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. We're on all those socials. Was really active on Twitter during football, really active on TikTok during football. Obviously, we do the YouTube videos. Man, I am just mainly a football guy. And then, a very close second for me is baseball. I just cannot care about basketball, man. I cannot do it. I tweeted that the other day. Not a single person had anything to say about it. And I'm not like the biggest, Twitter person on the planet. I'm very small, as a matter of fact. In my defense, I haven't even been tweeting a year. I don't know if that matters or not. But I generally get some feedback every one. I didn't get anything on that. I think I hurt some people's feelings, or maybe people just thought I was an idiot. I don't care. If you just like to listen to podcasts, maybe you don't like to watch videos, you don't like Twitter, you don't like TikTok. A lot of people fit into that category. You can find us at horntakespodcast.buzzsprout.com or anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're on the main ones. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeart. I can't get the RSS feed piece to work for Google, so I don't know what's going on with that. So we're not on Google, but fuck Google. We're Apple, iHeart, and Spotify. If you can't be on Apple, iHeart, or Spotify, then I guess we just can't be friends. Hardwood Horns, man, the frustrations for this team absolutely continue. This team is so weird to me, man. Like, they will look like they will come out looking like gangbusters in one game, and then the very next game just look completely, just absolutely inept. Like, they can't do shit. Like, they couldn't go beat a high school basketball team. I will continue to contend that basketball is not a sport until the regular season is over and you're into tournament time. I just can't get into it. I just can't, man. I don't know, man. I remember as a kid, like March Madness was exciting, and I liked the NBA playoffs, and I probably watched some of the NBA regular season. But I mean, just think about the superstars when I was a kid. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Shaquille O'Neal in the early days, Isaiah Thomas, Akeem Olajuwon. Just, man, that era of basketball was so fucking good, and you just don't have that anymore. So I don't know, man. I feel awful for people that really deep down inside love Texas basketball, because it's just a fuck show right now. I'm just not one of those dudes, and I'm not even going to pretend to be anymore. Last year, we started this podcast 2 football seasons ago, and it was like after the Red River Shootout when we finally pulled the trigger and said, yeah, we're going to do this. We went through last offseason covering basketball, and man, it's just like a job, and fuck that. I don't get paid for this shit. So I am not talking about basketball other than these high-level talks. I'm not going to get in depth every game. I do not fucking care. I'm sorry if that drives away one of my 20 subscribers. That's just the way it has to be. But we talked last week about if you're Texas, you had to steal one between TCU and Iowa State, because they were staring 6 wins possibly out of 10 games left in the face to get into the tournament. I don't know what that's going to look like. They go into TCU and just batter the fuck out of them, 77-66 on the road. And then they turn around and just get the shit blown out of them in the first half of the game against Iowa State. They end up crawling back into it and making it a game at the end. They only lost 70-65 after being down by 17 at half. But man, I just don't know. Now I think, and I don't know, I'm not an expert, but what I feel like they need, I feel like that 20 wins is kind of like a magic number from a tournament perspective. It seems like they probably need 5 of the next 8 to make the tourney, maybe 4 of the next 8. I don't know exactly, but you look at the schedule. You got West Virginia, Houston, Kansas State, Kansas, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Baylor, and Oklahoma. It's hard to see 5 wins there. Just like it was hard last week to see 6 wins out of the final 10. They did do what I said they had to do, though. They got one of those wins. So I don't know, man. I just don't know. Like this team, again, they can look so good one game, like definitely like a tournament team, and then just look like absolute trash the very next game. For me, look at the remaining schedule. I think they've got to beat West Virginia at home on Saturday. The problem is they're 1-4 at home right now in Big 12 play. I think Kansas State and Oklahoma State at home later this season are absolute must wins if they're going to pull this off. Because you got to go on the road to Houston, KU, Tech, and Baylor. And then they wrap it up with an Oklahoma team that they absolutely shithoused earlier in the season up in Norman. They come to Austin on March 9th to finish out the regular season. This is the type of Texas basketball team right now that could, lose just as bad as they beat Oklahoma before. They could lose to that same team. I just feel like this team could either win or lose every single game, and not in the sense that there's like probability to do that, just in the sense of like they're so inconsistent. It's like the only consistent thing about this team is the fact that they are woefully inconsistent. So I don't know, folks, man. Like right now, to me, even if I enjoyed basketball, this is just not a fun team to watch, man. I mean, in past years, even when they haven't been great, they've been fun to watch. I don't know quite how to explain it, but they're just not fun to watch, man. So that combined with the fact that my son this is his senior year of high school. We got lots of baseball coming up. I just can't care anymore about this. I've got enough in the tank to care about like a few things, right? So I'm going to care about my son's senior year of baseball, and I'm going to care about Texas Longhorn baseball, which opening pitch for that is next weekend. So we are excited about that. We love us some Texas baseball around here. Please get here, baseball. God, you cannot get here fast enough. It's been horrible. It's been absolutely horrible the last 3 weeks or however long it's been since college football's been done. I've been watching NFL games. That's how fucking terrible it is right now. I am not an NFL dude, but I've been watching NFL games just to have something to watch. Texas baseball had their alumni game on Saturday. I was kind of following. We had a baseball scrimmage, like one of those eternal baseball scrimmages. I don't know if they do this in other places. We had like a 13 or 14 inning scrimmage with a crosstown team. 12 to 14. I lose track after a certain amount of time. I'm old. I lose track. They don't turn the scoreboard on for these things. So cut me a little slack. We were there from 12 o'clock in the morning till a little after 4. Long ass time to be watching some high school baseball. So I missed the game on Saturday. I missed the alumni game. But I was watching, or not watching, I was checking it on my phone this good. It looked like the alumni were kicking some ass early. Actually, I was scrolling through Twitter, and Nash Talks Texas, man, that dude does a really good job. Not only does he do a really good job, this is at Nash Talks Texas on Twitter. He's been on the show once or twice, for sure. Once for sure. I think twice. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. But he does a really good job of these after game videos, especially during football season. But he also posts a lot of clips of things that are going on live during games. So he was posting a lot of stuff from the baseball game. So I was kind of able to keep up a little bit with what was going on. Anyway, the alumni, they were kicking the shit out of the well, I wouldn't say kicking the shit. They were beating the current squad. And you know what? A lot of those dudes are MLB players. Like Texas baseball is like, I want to be careful when I say this. It's going to piss a lot of people. Well, it would piss a lot of people off. And I'm definitely putting this on TikTok because it'll get a lot of, it'll generate a lot of conversation. Texas baseball is like the college baseball equivalent of Alabama football. That's all there is to it. They just put dudes, they just keep, it's like a factory. Dudes just go to play professional baseball when they come to Texas. Just like dudes go to Alabama and under Nick Saban and they end up being NFL draft picks. The same mystique that Alabama football had under Nick Saban is what you see when Texas baseball gets off the bus, folks. So there's a lot of good players in this alumni game. But the current squad comes back and wins that one 7-4. So good on them. That must mean that the current squad is just hell on wheels and ready to win a College World Series this year. We only have to wait one more week for baseball. Thank God. I mean, thank God. The only negative about that is I got to figure out a way to get Longhorn Network. That's all right. February 16th, 7 p.m., first pitch against San Diego at the Dish. Man, I wish I could be there. Oh, how I wish I could be there. You know what? I am actually going to be in Austin. I'm actually going to be in Austin in a couple of weekends. I'm gonna have to go catch some baseball at the Dish. I'm glad I just thought of that. We're not going to be actually in Austin. We're going to be in the Georgetown, Round Rock, Liberty Hill area, which is close enough to Austin. We can figure it out. What did he say? What did he say? You know how someone says some shit and you are like, what the hell did he just say? Sometimes that's a double-edged sword, right? Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's a real good thing. Like, you know, your boss walks by you in passing and says, hey, man, I got you a promotion and a 20 grand raise. You'd be like, what the hell did he just say? Other times, it's like when someone just says something real crazy and you can't believe they just said it. Well, that just happened this week. And we'll start with the good. What did he just say? I thought, you know, Steve, everybody does a signing day press conference. All these college coaches, they do a signing day press conference. And Steve Sarkisian did his the other day. And there always honestly wasn't a lot of recruiting shit to talk about because they didn't sign anybody on signing day. They signed everybody on early signing day. I think what you're going to see here pretty quick is the ending of this February signing day, and there's just going to be a December signing day. There's so many guys now that are getting done with high school so early that they're enrolling in the spring anyway. Like 24 of the 30 guys that are coming on campus to include transfers are already on campus right now at Texas. They reported at the end of January. So, yeah, they're going to change it. I'm telling you, there's not that many people that sign on the real February signing day anymore. So he didn't have a lot of recruiting stuff to talk about. He was just really just kind of answering questions about the roster and, you know, some of the stuff about, you know, who they picked up in the transfer portal. But one of the things he said he did not come, and I'm paraphrasing all this. He did not come to Texas just to say he was the head coach at Texas. He came to Texas to win a championship. And then he said, and if I can get one championship, I want to win another championship. And then he said, I'm almost obsessed with the idea of winning a championship at Texas right now. And to me, that's one of those really good, what the hell did he just say things? Because we haven't done it since 2005. He's never sniffed it. And I guess you could argue until this season, he's never sniffed it as a head coach. But that's what I like about Steve Sarkisian. He's not shooting low, man. He says he's got in his mind, he wants to be the next Nick Saban type coach. And I am here for that, man. Man, that is something that he picked up working under Pete Carroll and Nick Saban, was just this, and he used the word obsession. And I think that is like, I think that perfectly describes Nick Saban. Like, Nick Saban is absolutely obsessed with perfection. And he is obsessed with the idea that you have to get all these amazing football players to believe every single year, you got to do it over and over again, that they are not good enough to be perfect. And you have to drive them further than they ever thought they could go. You have to drive them past what they have in their mind is perfection. And you got to do that to win a championship. And then if you want to win another championship, you got to do it again. And I think to do that, you absolutely have to be obsessed with that. You got to wake up in the morning thinking about it. You got to wake up, you got to spend your whole day thinking about it, planning for it, executing those plans. You got to go to bed thinking about it. You got to dream about it while you're asleep. You got to wake up in the middle of the night and think about it some more. I don't know about you guys. I wake up in the middle of the night and my mind just starts racing sometimes. And it is like all kinds of good ideas. And a lot of times I go, I'm going back to sleep. Fuck this. I'm tired. Other time, but the problem is when you go back to sleep, you forget. Like I don't know what it is. I get good ideas in the shower when I can't write stuff down, and I get good ideas in the middle of the night when I wake up and I can't fall back asleep immediately. You got to challenge yourself. And Nick Saban's the type of motherfucker that would wake up, have a great idea, and it doesn't matter what's going. He's going to get up and write that idea down. In the shower, he probably has like a waterproof whiteboard so he can write down good ideas in the shower. That's Nick Saban. And that, to me, is what Steve Sarkisian sounds like. Now, he hasn't done it yet. Let's see if he can do it. But I feel like, man, I feel like he has that burning inside like Nick Saban obviously has. Now the question is, can he turn that into, can he lead other people through that? Can he lead other people through that same sort of evolution of thought? Can he get those guys obsessed? That's the key. And Nick Saban was the absolute master at that. I know Nick Saban recruited well while he was at Alabama, and I know that a lot of what goes into being a really good team has to do with the talent you have. But there's a lot of teams that have a lot of good talent. There is no teams that have done what Nick Saban did while he was at Alabama. I didn't mean for this to turn into like a Nick Saban love fest, but I say all those things to illustrate that I feel like Sark has that drive, just like Coach Saban did. And if he can figure out how to get all those guys on campus consistently having that same type of obsession, man, y'all better watch the hell out. Texas is going to be damn good for a while. He talked a lot about the transfer portal, and guys, there's a lot of controversy about the transfer portal, and I think so let's, like, from a player perspective, the transfer portal is good. From a college program perspective, the transfer portal is good. But I think, like any good thing, there can be too much of it. And so I get into it with these Colorado cultists all the time. I will make a comment like, Deion Sanders can't recruit because he can't, because he's got a 6th ranked recruiting class. Or no, he's got the 102nd ranked recruiting class because he's only got 6 high school recruits on it. And then they'll come back with, but the portal. And man, you can fill a roster with the portal. Anybody can do that. Like, it's not fucking hard. There's 2,500 guys in the transfer portal at any given time. Anybody can go out there and fill their roster with those guys. But one, a lot of them aren't that good. And two, a lot of them are in the portal because they're not good people. Like, they're not, and I don't mean that like, what I'll say is they cannot buy into something. They didn't mesh well with whatever the culture the coaches there were trying to build in a lot of cases. Some of these guys are problem children. Let's just be honest. A lot of guys in the portal are problems, and that's why they're in the portal, and that's why they're in the portal again. So, yeah, man, you can go fill your roster up with the portal, but you're not getting good quality players. You're not getting good quality people. It is impossible to build the type of cohesion and team you need, culture that you need, if you're flipping your roster by 20, 30, 40 players every single season. You have to have a foundation of guys that have been bought in for an extended period of time. And the only way to do that is through recruiting. So, yeah, high school recruiting. So, yeah, you can augment a roster, and that is exactly what Steve Sarkisian has been doing at Texas. He is augmenting his roster with the transfer portal. It worked like a charm last year. It looks like, man, he nailed it again this season, man. Him and old Lane Kiffin destroyed the transfer portal game this offseason. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. Right way, Steve Sarkisian. You recruit well high school players. You get them into the program. You get them bought in. They stay bought in for multiple years so you can develop them. Use the portal to bring, ridiculous athletes and ridiculously good guys into the program. Guys that will buy into your culture for maybe one season. A.D. Mitchell, perfect example. The impact that Adonai Mitchell had on the University of Texas football season in 2023 cannot be overstated. That's what the portal is about. And then there's the wrong way, the Deion way. And I know, you're picking on you're such a hater. No, I'm not. I don't fucking hate Deion. I hate how terrible he is at his job, just to be quite frank, and how horrible of shape that program is going to be in. All you dipshits right now that are waving the Deion flag and freaking, you got your Deion primetime pom-poms out. The real Colorado fans in that group are going to be in a whole world of shit in a year or two when he's not there anymore, and the fucking place is an absolute shambles. Just complete fucking shambles. Because the only reason any of those 40, 30, however many kids he brings in every year are coming there is because of him. So when he's done, they're done. Guarantee you that. Nobody's at Colorado because they want to be at Colorado. And if he could bring in 20, 30, 40 guys that were awesome athletes and good cultural fits, he would be good, but you can't. And he's not. And he won't be. And he's going to be gone. And your university and all these people that bought into the hype for this, for this athletic program and this football program are going to be standing there like going, what the fuck just happened? That's why I speak the truth about Deion. And then the kids that he just leaves in his wake. He doesn't give a damn. There's 2 people on that entire roster he cares about. You can't tell me no different. That dude is in it for himself and his 2 sons. And as soon as those boys aren't on that team anymore, Once they're off doing their own thing, he's gone. I mean, it's almost like it's like you can just see it coming. And if you can't, you're either just a complete dumbass or you're just willfully blind. So Sark's doing the transfer portal the right way. A lot of other guys are too, by the way. So that was a what the hell did he just say for a good moment? And then you know how people say stuff and you think to yourself, there's no way that dude actually believes that himself or that lady actually believes that themselves. That happened also at a signing day presser. Mike Elko says that A&M is the flagship University of Texas in his signing day presser, which has got to be like one of the top 5 like all-time complete BS rah-rah moments in college football history. There's no way that fucking guy believes that. There's no way anybody that was listening to that really believes that. Like, I feel like that was probably one of those moments where most of the people in the room cringed. And maybe I'm giving Aggies too much credit, though. I mean, maybe they're all behind it and whooping their asses off. And I mean, maybe they ran out of the building and went straight to like yell practice. I don't know. But check this out. In their long history, I mean, they've been playing sports for a long fucking time down in Texas A&M. They have 13 NCAA national championships in all sports. Texas has 57. A&M's last national championship was in men's indoor track 2017, so that's pretty recent. They have 3 football national titles, one in 1919, one in 1927, and the other in 1939. Texas has 4 since then and 1 in this century. I mean, we're almost pushing 100 years for 2 of those, and we weren't too far off from 100 years for all 3 of those. 2 of those were retroactively giving by absolutely no major entity. Like Jeff Sagarin awarded them like the 1999 or 1919 national championship or some shit. I don't know. He probably just applied his strength of schedule stuff to a bunch of games back then. I have no idea like how he even did that. So like their only legit national title was 1939. They have 173 conference titles in all sports. Texas has 515 conference titles in all sports. Their latest major men's sport conference championship was 2016 in baseball. Texas has 2 conference championships since then, one in baseball, one in football. The highest Texas A&M has ever finished in the Directors Cup was 5th back in 2012, 2013. Texas has won it twice since then. And they finished in the top 5 8 other times. So they've been a top 5 Director Cup 10 times. And the Directors Cup's only been around since like 1994. Despite spotting these guys like a decade plus, a decade and more of head start in the SEC, Texas is going to win the SEC first in football. Everybody knows this. I mean, you could argue that they won it last year. They went on the road and beat the SEC champion by double digits. A&M hasn't even come close to sniffing an SEC championship game. Texas has made the playoffs. A&M hasn't even come close to sniffing the playoffs. So no, guys, like no Mike Elko. Like there's some shit you say that like you can rile up the fan base and get them excited, and nobody's going to make fun of you. This was not one of those things. A&M is not the flagship university in Texas. It's not even fucking close. And unless he's just a complete moron, which he's probably not. He's probably pretty close, but he's probably not. He even knows that. Recruits know that. Every Aggie in that room knew that. They might not have wanted to admit it, but they knew it. Every Aggie across the Twitter sphere knew it. Every Aggie reading the internet knew it. Every Aggie that watched the press conference happen knew it. Come on, man. Check us out next week sometime. We'll be talking about something. You can check us out anywhere you listen to pod. We'll be getting ready for baseball. We're going to be excited about that. Find us on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. Follow and subscribe. Won't cost you guys a thing. We appreciate the support. You can email me at horntakespodcast@gmail.com with all your questions, comments, concerns, and criticisms. I love all that shit. Email me. We'll argue, man. We'll argue. I could answer questions. You could I don't know, whatever, man. Get hooked. Y'all have a good weekend.